Cheryl and Liam have finally named their son. He's called Bear. Got a lovely name coming up in just a moment, actually, because a mum from Wolverhampton says she's actually disgusted by shoppers at Merry Hill who stared at her 6-month-old baby while she was being fed through a tube. Gemma Harris's daughter, Remy, told you it's a lovely name, has a rare brain condition that means she can't eat in the usual way. They'd found a space to sit down and tube feed at the shopping centre, but she says some people sat staring at them like a tiger in a zoo, and a post about what happened on Facebook has gone viral. Gemma joins us now. Gemma, good morning to you. It's nice to talk to you now. Just explain to me what actually happened at Mary Hill.
Well, basically, I have been avoiding the place for quite a while because people don't seem to be as outspoken as they are in Belstone. and Remy was due for a feed. Went to go and find a place to sit, and I was going to go and sit in the corner, admittedly, to try not to draw attention. But then I saw a baby being bottle fed, only a couple of seats away, and I thought, what am I doing? So I went and sat down, and once I started feeding her, I realised really that I've got nothing to be worried about. You know, my feelings were a bit silly, and then I started watching people and their reactions to the tube feeding.
Explain how the tube things work, because Remy has this condition whereby unable to feed not naturally, if you like, normally. So what do you have to do?
Basically, the tube is taped to her face, so it's quite obvious, and the tube kind of goes up her nose, down the back of her throat, and straight into her stomach. So
it's something that you see every day on a hospital drama, and if you've been in hospital yourself, that's how a nasal drip, effectively.
Yeah, I do appreciate that people not knowing what it is. It is quite like an alien object, and you know, I've heard some people being asked, you know, are you forcing that milk down into the child's belly? So I appreciate that's like an alien object, but I'm trying to get it so that it's normalised, so that we get to the point where, whereas the mum was bottle feeding, we get to the point where somebody looks over, oh, that baby's being tube fed, just the same as they would with somebody who's bottle feeding, and trying to get it so that if people are curious, come and ask, don't stare. You know, I was brought up not to stare. Yeah. Try not to stare, just come over and ask, or just try and associate what that tube feeding set is.
Was it actually just at Merry Hill that you suddenly started, because you had the time maybe, and you suddenly were just looking around, and suddenly it dawned on you that people were looking at you oddly, whereas if you'd done the same thing elsewhere in the West Midlands, you thought that perhaps people would just carry on?
I feel Merry Hill's a lot more judgmental, probably because people aren't as prepared to speak out as much. Like when I've tube fed, like in the hospital, like the Greg's Cafe in New Cross, I've had like looks and that, but because of the setting, people seem to know where it is a lot more. But then it's the assumptions that we've had with it. You know, there's over 100 reasons why a child would be tube fed, and we've had people assume that she was premature, and she wasn't. She was born exactly on a due date. We've had people assume that she got childhood cancer. And my point is, there's over 100 different reasons why a child would be tube fed. So if you want to know, ask. Just don't make assumptions, because that's when it starts getting...
Do you think that's British? You know what we're Brits are like. We'll look at something and we'll make a judgment, but also we probably want to know.
Yeah.
But because we don't like talking to strangers, really, we find it rather difficult, so we won't actually go up and say, excuse me, because we might think we're intruding by, if you come over and say, oh, hello there, that your child? Why is she being fed like that then?
Yeah.
You know, because we might think we're being a bit rude.
No, that's perfectly fine. But what I'm trying to get people to do is try opening up, try communicating. It's a lot less offensive to ask, why is your child being tube fed, than to assume these different assumptions. You know, the main one that really grinds my gears is when people point at a face and say, oh, is she poorly? And my standard response to that is, no, she's in perfect health. She hasn't got a cold or anything. I mean, she's got severe brain damage, but she hasn't got a cold. Because I'm like, just because she's got this condition, I don't see tube feeding any different. Like, her feeding tube is no different from you wearing glasses or someone wearing a hearing aid. It's a piece of equipment to aid her with something she's unable to do, just the same as anybody wearing glasses hundreds of years ago. You know, they would have been stared at in the street. Like, what is that alien object they've got on their face? Yeah. But now, because people know what it is, it's normalised, and that's what I'm trying to get to with tube feeding.
So after being stared at, yeah, you thought, right, I'm going to do this, put something on Facebook, and were you amazed at the reaction?
I really was. It literally took like about a minute to write. You know, I've spent a lot of time with Remy's Facebook posts. So a lot of them I've spent time on them, like constructing them and wording them properly. This one was literally took me a minute, and then I looked at my phone, it was 600, and then an hour later it was like 1200, and I can't believe the response, and the comments from the tube feeding mums are unreal.
That's interesting, because is it like a sort of a community? Because you weren't aware that there were other tube feeding mothers out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've had quite a lot of messages from mums who don't know anybody else who's tube feeding their child, and a lot of people like asking for support, and I've been able to like refer them to specific Facebook groups for support. I'm meeting up with quite a few of them. I'm thinking about doing like a tube feeding rally at Merry Hill, like getting loads of tube fed children together, just so that we can get it normalised. And we've got all these really exciting ideas, because I really do feel passionate about it. And now that I know,
tube feeding flash mob, that's the way forward. That's brilliant, isn't it? How can we find your Facebook page so we can have a look and comment ourselves?
At Remy's Diary, REMI.
Remy's Diary, lovely name, and nice to meet you. Thank you
Nice
so
to
much
meet you
indeed for
too.
dropping
Thank
by.
you.
That's absolutely excellent. And Merry Hill, Into Merry Hill, told us prides itself on being a family-friendly centre, and we welcome Gemma's thoughts on how we could further improve shoppers' experience. So you can get in touch with them.
Thank you.
Exactly, they'll want to hear from you, which is excellent. Gemma, thank you.
Alex Lester at breakfast on